you register through this link. Because one of the key things, like you won't be able to take part in the business idea competition unless you register through this, right? And as my colleague was presenting, we hope you were all here. There's this flow chart that we have, and let me try to explain this. So, this is very important to us, this particular flow chart, right? The link I was talking about, it's this one here, right? So, the deadline ya kuapply ilikuwa jana, but because of this is the International Youth Week, actually, tumetoa deadline. You can even close it any day, anytime, right? Any day, anytime. But one thing that I know, maybe deadline tutaifunga, maybe kesho, maybe Saturday, maybe Sunday. Even maybe tunaweza amua tu kuifunga on the day of the International Youth Day itself on Monday. So if you haven't, that's one requirement. You need to, because that data is actually very important to us, right? We only have kuna mlango moja ya to take part in this competition. It's actually only through you apply hapa. So we're going to have time for that. If you haven't applied, you shall have time to apply. That's one thing, right? So sahizi, where are we? Sahizi tuko sahizi tuko hapa, right? This is where we are. Hapa kwa business idea competition. So we've partnered with SMARTS to instant do specifically one for agriculture. As my colleague was presenting, Sharon, and also wale when you are register through the link, right? You realize that several industries, right? Kuna agriculture, kuna hospitality, kuna transport, kuna creatives, finance, information and communication. We're looking at so many industries, right? But one of those industries is actually agriculture, right? So you guys are actually lucky. Japita is stage, your startup school. You guys are very lucky in your agriculture. So far we have 1,000 youths from Mombasa, Kilifi, Kwale, and Lamu who've applied for this Corn Innovation Challenge so far, right? And all of them, this is the standard process that we are meant to go through, right? So even some of you, this is actually very important so that we set the stage very clear, right? So, who goes through the business idea competition? This competition in agribusiness. It's folks at ideation stage, right? And this is what we mean by ideation. First thing is that you're not making money. If you know you're running an agriculture-related business and you're making money, ideally you should not be happy. You're not meant to be here. If you know you have a business, it's an agriculture-related business and you're making money, ideally you are not meant to be here, right? But we shall get to that. So kama you already uko hapa, that's still fine. It's okay, just still sit through, right? Because even those whom we communicated to, we were very specific, right? We only sent emails and bulk SMS to only those who say wakati wali apply, they are at the pre-revenue stage. And to us, who is someone that is at the pre-revenue stage? One, you have an agricultural product, you have an idea of an agribusiness, and you have a prototype that hujaanza kutengeneza pesa. For example, it could be maybe you grow coconut, but hujaanza kuuza coconut zako. Or you're making maybe whatever, cooking oil out of coconut, right? But hujaanza kuuza. You haven't started making money out of that, right? So that is for as long as you haven't started making money. Others, wako na idea, you have an agri-business related idea, you don't have a sample product, right? Those are the people you expect to be here. Even some don't have ideas, you're only interested in agriculture, right? But you have no business idea. This is also meant for you, right? So this is this category of folks in the agribusiness sector, right? But nevertheless, And I don't mean that you sort of like beat the system. So this is where we are, right? So basically what we've done with SMARTS, we've accelerated. Ideally this was meant to happen at the end of this month. But now with the partnership with SMARTS Foundation, we've accelerated, so to May later. Right? So now, your other colleagues in other sectors, transport, finance, information and communication, most likely, we're going to subject them to the startup school. I won't get into these details because my colleague Sharon talked about that. So you guys, yeah, can count yourself to be lucky. And also this is a learning experience to us, right? If this works out, then those other, because I think we had about 66 at the ideation stage with an interest in agriculture that we reached out to, right? If it works out, that means that even those other applicants, in those other industries and sectors, we might tell them, okay, probably there's no need for you guys to go through the startup school. We instead do a similar setup like this, but in other sectors, right? So, but we don't really have time because the incubation, the 3-month incubation and acceleration program is meant to start by 2nd of September. So, ukiwa uko hapa and you're interested to be part of the One Innovation Challenge and you haven't signed up, please keep track of that. You need to sign up. Still easy, but maybe later on when you break. So, okay, that was just the first thing. Now, we're going to do our master classes. So we're going to get to dive deep into master classes. And in this master class that I'm going to do, I'm going to combine 3 things in one. Right? So please be as attentive as possible. 3 things in one. I'm going to talk about agriculture. I'm going to talk about entrepreneurship. I'm also going to talk about technology. So as I talk about technology, will also be part of value addition, right? But the key discussion here is agribusiness. So agribusiness, it's either you're doing, you're doing production. So in this case, maybe you grow coconut or cashew nuts or mangoes, you name it, whichever it is, right? So it's either you grow in crops, that is one. It's either you're doing value addition, so you don't grow crops, but rather you go buy, say, crops from farmers, you add value. So for example, you make coconut oil from coconut, or you make jam from cashew nuts, whichever case it is, right? Or the other aspect is you're doing what? Technology, right? So maybe you want farmers to adopt technologies so that they can scale, or just about anyone in the agricultural and food value chain to adopt technology and scale. So I'm going to talk about those things. It's a very technical, this is a very technical session, right? If at any point something doesn't make sense to you, please let me know, right? If at any point. So the first is going to have this discussion about really getting to understand agriculture, right? Sort of like how is agriculture, like, sort of like structured. But before that, tell me, like you also need to register through that, right? So after this session, of which it's going to go on till saa saba, then from saa saba to saa nane we take lunch, right? I think from saa nane to saa kumi, you guys are ideating, coming up with these business ideas and stuff, other business ideas, right? Then from 4 to 5, you're gonna present. And we're gonna have a kind of judges who will now be like assessing who's really got the best business idea, business idea. Okay, now let me. Okay, I hope you guys can see, right? This screen is clear now. So, right? So this is agricultural and food value chain. So one thing when it comes to the One Innovation Challenge, as well as the business idea competition, we are taking a value chain approach, right? We're taking a value chain approach. So if you have an agribusiness idea, we try to see where does your idea fall in this value chain. That's one thing. We need to know where does your idea fall in this value chain, right? Because at any given point, We don't want to have business ideas that are concentrated in just one stage of the value chain. I'll get to talk about what the value chain means, right? But that is one thing I've designed in this entire program. We're talking about value chain approach. And that is one thing. So what does a value chain mean? Trying to see if I hope you guys know vizuri. So what does a value chain mean? A value chain is basically a series of stages, right? That it tells us how things move from one point to another, right? How transactions of producing food or producing crops or growing crops, buying to selling to processing them up to the end where people consume. So each one of us hapa is actually a player. So like this is a movie and we're all characters in this movie, right? So in this character, in this movie, some are whatever, like you name it, right? So we're gonna have like value chain actors. Let me talk about actors, right? So for example, at the start, we have value chain actors whose role, so how we have input suppliers. If you don't do things like fertilizers, seeds, kama hizo. Then you supply raw materials, land, kama hizo. Those are